Losing weight can be rough. Even when you think you're doing everything right, sometimes the scale refuses to budge. You might be tempted to fall for fad diets or weight loss products that promise quick, miraculous results. But if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Or, at the very least, it's unsustainable and unhealthy. With all the opinions out there, it's easy to get overwhelmed and confused. Not to mention, misinformed. So how do you separate fact from fiction and avoid dieting pitfalls? Hi, my name is Jack, and welcome to your Health Academy. If this is the first time you are visiting our channel, make sure to watch the last video in this course to make as much possible benefit. And hit the subscribe button, and turn on the notifications. So, in this video, we're gonna see weight loss myth and mistake. So, let's start. 1. Calories in versus calories out is bad science. Calorie counting doesn't work, the overweight MD says in his latest best-selling book. It's a relic of our ignorant dietary past, the pretty woman who has been skinny her entire life tells Oprah. It's time we moved on and realized dieting is all about food quality, not calories, the former triathlete turned guru says on his Blockbuster blog. The sales pitch sounds sexy. Eat the right foods and you can unclog and supercharge your hormones and metabolism, and your body will take care of the rest. This is music to many people's ears who want to believe they can get lean and fit without ever having to restrict or even pay attention to how much they eat, only what? This is malarkey. It's worse than that. It's a blatant lie because, as far as your body weight is concerned, how much you eat is far more important than what you eat. Don't believe me? Just ask Kansas State University professor Mark Howe, who lost 27 pounds in 10 weeks eating Hostess cupcakes, Doritos, Oreos, and a whey protein shake. Or a science teacher, John Cisner, who lost 56 pounds in 6 months eating nothing but McDonald's. Or Kai Sedgwick, a fitness enthusiast who got into the best shape of his life following a rigorous workout routine and eating McDonald's every day for a month. I don't recommend you follow in their footsteps. The nutritional value of your diet does matter, but they prove an indisputable point: you can lose fat and gain muscle while eating copious amounts of junk food. The key to understanding how this works, and to understanding what drives weight loss and gain, is energy balance, which is the relationship between energy intake, calories are eaten, and output, calories burned. Various foods contain varying numbers of calories. For example, nuts are very energy dense, containing about 6.5 calories per gram, on average. Celery, on the other hand, contains very little stored energy, with just 0.15 calories per gram. If you add up the calories of all the food you eat in a day and then compare that number to how many calories you burn in the same period, you'd notice one of three things. 1. You ate more calories than you burned. Do this often enough and you'll gain weight. 2. You ate fewer calories than you burned. Do this often enough and you'll lose weight. 3. You ate more or less the same number of calories as you burned. Do this often enough and you'll maintain your weight. Your checking account is a good metaphor for how this process works. If you eat more calories into the account than you burn, you create a positive energy balance, and your body will store a portion of the surplus energy as body fat. If you put fewer calories into the account than you spend, however, you create a negative energy balance, and your body will turn to its energy savings, body fat, mostly, to make up for the deficit and obtain the energy it needs to keep functioning. Remember that our bodies require a constant supply of energy to stay alive, and if they didn't have these handy energy deposits to tap into body fat, we would have to provide that energy through a carefully regulated feeding schedule. If we missed a meal, the energy would run out and we would die. The only reason we don't have to live like that is our bodies can break down body fat and other tissues when necessary, and burn it for energy when food energy isn't available. What do you think happens to your body fat stores, then, if you eat considerably fewer calories than you burn for weeks or months on end? That's right, they get whittled down to lower and lower levels, and you look leaner and leaner. These aren't hypotheses or debunked theories, either. This is the first law of thermodynamics at work, which states that energy in a system can't be created or destroyed but can only change form. This applies to all physical energy systems, including the human metabolism. When we eat food, its stored energy is transformed by our muscles into mechanical energy, movement, by our digestive systems into chemical energy, body fat, and by our organs into thermal energy, heat. This alone explains why every single controlled weight loss study conducted in the last 100 years has concluded that meaningful weight loss requires energy expenditure to exceed energy intake. This is also why bodybuilders dating back just as far, from the father of modern bodybuilding, Eugen Sandow, to the sword and sandal superstar Steve Reeves to the iconic Arnold Schwarzenegger, have been using this knowledge to systematically and routinely reduce and increase body fat levels as desired. So, the bottom line is, a century of metabolic research has proven, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that energy balance is the basic mechanism that regulates weight gain and loss. All that evidence, however, doesn't mean you have to count calories to lose weight, but it does mean you have to understand how calorie intake and expenditure influence your body weight and then regulate your intake according to your goals. 2. Carbs and sugars make you fat. People love simple explanations and compelling conspiracies, and these two quirks explain the popularity of most mainstream diet trends. The formula for a fad diet is simple. 1. It's not your fault you're overweight and unhealthy. Jerks keep saying it's because you eat too much junk and food in general and move too little, but they're wrong. You're not lazy and undisciplined. You're a victim of bad science and worse food. 2. New research shows you what to blame. And we've strung it up like a piñata for you to bludgeon into ribbons. Strike it down with all your hatred and your journey to the dark. Light. The side will be complete. 3. Avoid this thing at all costs and you'll live happily ever after. Celibacy is the only way to escape this bogeyman's wrath. Renounce it and take charge of your destiny. These emotion-based tactics are how marketers sold us on low-fat dieting a decade ago and how they sell us on low-carb and low-sugar dieting today. Cut the heinous carbohydrate and sugar molecules out of your life, they say, and the pounds will just melt away. It all sounds so neat and tidy until someone like me comes along and points out the glitches in the matrix, like the professor and science teacher I introduced you to earlier in this chapter, or the well-designed and well-executed studies that have found no difference in weight loss whatsoever between low and high carb and low and high sugar diets. For instance, 1. Scientists at Arizona State University found no difference in weight or fat loss between people consuming 5 and 40% of their calories from carbohydrates for 10 weeks. 2. Scientists at the Medical College of Wisconsin found no difference in weight or fat loss between people consuming 4 and 30% of their calories from carbohydrates for 6 weeks. 3. Scientists at the Harvard School of Public Health found no difference in weight loss between people consuming 65, 45, and 35% of their calories from carbohydrates for 2 years. 4. Scientists at Stanford School of Medicine found no difference in weight or fat loss between people who consumed 50 and 25% of their calories from carbohydrates for 1 year. 5. Scientists at Duke University found no difference in weight or fat loss between people consuming 4 and 43% of their calories from sugar for 6 weeks. 6. Scientists at Queen Margaret University College found no difference in weight loss between people consuming 5 and 10% of their calories from sugar for 8 weeks. Later in this book, we'll talk more about why carbs and sugars aren't nearly as dangerous or fattening as you've been told, but for now, know this. If you consistently consume fewer calories than you burn, you'll lose weight, regardless of how much carbohydrate or sugar you eat. There's a corollary here, too. No individual food can make you fatter. Only overeating can. If you consistently consume more calories than you burn, you'll gain weight, even if those calories come from the healthiest food on earth. Look around for easy proof of this one. How many people do you know who are overweight despite their obsession with clean eating? Well, now you know why. Myth number 3, some people just mysteriously can't lose weight. The number one reason most people, inexplicably, can't lose weight is they're eating too much. Seriously. That's the climax. The big reveal. The way out of the haunted house. The rub, however, is they often don't realize it. For starters, studies show that most people are really bad at estimating the actual number of calories they eat. They underestimate portion sizes, assume foods contain fewer calories than they do, measure intake inaccurately, and, in some cases, simply lie to themselves about how much they're eating. A particularly egregious example can be found in a study conducted by scientists at Columbia University. They found that obese people who claim to have been eating 800 to 1,200 calories per day for years were underestimating their true daily calorie intake by a whopping 2,000 calories, on average. That's right, on average, these people were eating about 3,000 calories per day while claiming to have been eating just 800 to 1,200 calories per day. This inability to estimate calorie intake accurately is why so many people fail with diets that deal with rules and restrictions instead of hard numbers. You can lose weight without counting calories, but it's a bit of a crapshoot, and it becomes less and less viable as you get leaner and leaner. There are plenty of ways to screw up calorie counting too. If you eat a lot of prepackaged and prepared foods, it's fairly easy to accidentally overeat because the calorie counts we're given for various restaurants and packaged foods are often inaccurate. Food manufacturers can underreport calories by 20% and pass FDA inspection, and you'd better believe many are unscrupulous enough to use this to their advantage. Maybe those low-calorie cookies aren't so low-calorie after all? People who know this and stick to foods they cook and prepare themselves are often no better in the end because they don't measure their foods properly. Here's an all too common scenario. It's mealtime and you break out the oatmeal, peanut butter, blueberries, and yogurt, and the measuring cups and spoons. You measure out 1 cup of oatmeal, 1 tablespoon of peanut butter, and half a cup each of blueberries and yogurt. You cook it all up, scarf it all down, and move on with your day. Unfortunately, you've just eaten a couple hundred more calories than you thought. How did this happen? Well, that slightly heaping cup of oatmeal that you scooped out contained 100 grams of dry oats and 379 calories. The cup on the label, however, contains only 307 calories because it assumes 81 grams of dry oats. That's 72 more calories than you thought. And your tablespoon of peanut butter? You packed in 21 grams for a count of 123 calories, but your app's tablespoon assumes just 16 grams and 94 calories. There are another 29 hidden calories. Make these types of errors meal after meal, food after food, day after day, and this alone can be the reason you, mysteriously, can't lose weight. So, we have finished this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video informative and actionable. If you got some value out of it, don't forget to hit that like button, and then subscribe for more videos. Make sure to leave a comment if you have any questions. See you in the next video.